After what has been a kick-in-the-teeth week, Aberdeen go into the festive period looking to pick themselves up, give themselves a shake, and get back to winning ways, starting against St Mirren in Paisley. Kick-off is at 12:30 UK time. After our defeat in midweek, it's a very simple task today. We have to keep in touch and we have to close the gap. And we need to open a bigger gap between the chasing pack. That is how it stands in the table. Today's fixtures, just a handful of fixtures: Celtic against St Johnstone, Dundee United against Hearts, and Hibs entertain Livingston. Good morning, how are you doing? Welcome to the preview show here on Ali Beg AB TV as we face St Mirren a little bit later today. My goodness, what a week it's been. I have not had a week like this in terms of disappointment, in terms of gut-wrenching, kick-in-the-teeth disappointment for a long, long time. And today, I really hope the boys can pick themselves up, especially with a sold-out away travelling support. I bow to every single one of you. What a phenomenal commitment given this time of year. Now, just to let you know that this show is a pre-recorded show. It's not live. And the reason that I've pre-recorded it is because, quite simply, in Austria on the 24th of December, they actually celebrate Christmas Day today, hence why the show is pre-recorded. So we've got a fairly busy show today. I'm going to be discussing with Richard Wilkinson, who runs the very popular Aberdeen fans Facebook page, Aberdeen FC, the Beach End Boys, Goodwin Vibrations. Him and I have a little chat about what happened on Tuesday and looking ahead to today's game against St Mirren. And a little bit of festive cheer for you today. Coming up later, I did a quick fire session with former Aberdeen goalkeeper Brian Gunn. It's hilarious. It's absolutely not to be missed. And for me, it's the only way to get us into our Christmas period with a bit of joy, a bit of laugh, and bringing a smile to people's faces. So stick around for that a little bit later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to predict the team that I think Jim Goodwin will start today's game. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think he might start with the same team that started against Rangers. And I think this is the formation that he might play. I might be completely getting this wrong, but I just have a feeling that he will go three at the back again, with Hilber just in front, and the same sort of middle four, with Jayden Richardson keeping his place in there. So it could be very interesting to see what he actually does do come 12:30 today, whether he decides to be bold, go with three at the back, or play a little bit safer and put a four at the back there. So yeah, I guess time will tell. But that is the team that I'm kind of predicting for later today. Let's welcome Richard Wilkinson. So we did a little bit of a post-mortem because I didn't want to dwell. And obviously, we put everything into context ahead of today's game against St Mirren. So here is Richard Wilkinson. Morning, fella. Good to see you, as always. Thanks for coming on. Okay, so I don't want to dwell overly too much on what happened on Tuesday night. I think dwelling is not very healthy, particularly in football terms. But I do think in the greater context that we do need to have a chat about it, considering that we've got a very important game coming up against St Mirren. I'm not trying to play skullduggery here, anything but I have seen what I think is quite a powerful shift in the opinions of the fans about Jim Goodwin as Aberdeen manager since Tuesday night. Am I reading into this wrong, or should we be concerned?
I think we've seen a natural fan reaction to two games that, as Aberdeen fans, we want to win. We want to at least show that that we've made an effort. And I think the two games, in terms of which the first, positive people might approach it with the fact that we were 5 minutes away or 3 minutes away in normal time from getting a draw, from getting a point. And positive people might want to look at, we were 5 minutes away from winning the game. However, I think it's the manner in which Jim Goodwin's tactical nous had failed him. And in the end, instead of getting potentially 4 points, we've ended up with 0 points. So I think there's a lot of hurt because Aberdeen fans want to perform well and want to do well against the Glasgow teams. I think I'd use the sort of, like political approval ratings. I think if you were to do a survey of Don's fans right now, they wouldn't be giving their best appraisal of Jim Goodwin. I think it's probably salvageable, but what we have realised, if you hadn't already, particularly after the Motherwell game at home, particularly after the Rangers game away, particularly after the Dundee United game at Tannadice, particularly maybe even after the Hibs game at Easter Road, is that our managers' tactical awareness and how to manage games maybe isn't as great as we would all like it to be. And that's the challenge going forward where, as you say, put those 2 games behind us. There's a lot to talk about, but put those 2 games behind us. It's going, we're either a win or lose team. Let the team be the attacking force that they are. Don't let them sit back. Don't let them, sit deep and trying to defend a lead. Go out there and score another goal, which is what we were more looking like doing on Tuesday night. And we decided to sit back, sit deep, and ended up losing. So the Goodwin approval ratings, I'm still smarting the Goodwin approval ratings, but what it has given me an awareness of is he can identify for the most part a good attacking player, and the recruitment team have been able to do that. But what he's got to learn from, and he talks about, we've not become a bad team overnight. Fair point. What we've got to learn and what he's got to learn is, how to sit a game out, how to manage a game. And normally the McInnes way of doing that would have always been to sit back and look after a lead. I don't think this team can do that in its current form. Whatever happens in January with transfers and players coming in and the defence, which we keep talking about, but go out and score more goals. Don't sit back. Make attacking substitutions. There's another topic of conversation. Make attacking, and whatever issues you have with the players, which it may or may not be, but why Watkins and Shaden Morris were brought on as opposed to, say, Vinny and Ramirez, that's a whole other conversation. If you have issues with players, get it sorted.
Yeah, I completely agree. The substitutions baffled me. Obviously, Leighton had to come off because he had a knock. From what I understand, Bojan had to come off also because he was carrying a knock. The Duke substitution completely baffled me. I was of the opinion that just go like for like. So take Leighton off, bring Vinny on, take Bojan off, bring Christian off, and bring Christian on, and just give them instructions to basically just continue playing like the guys were playing. I have to be honest, and I don't like saying it, but I will be completely transparent. For me, the jury's out at the moment, very much so. And what I thought was quite a telling stat from the brilliant guys at Here We Go on Twitter, who tweeted this yesterday. It was a fantastic tweet. The difference after 29 matches between Stephen Glass's reign and Jim Goodwin's reign is only 3 points. And I have to say, I didn't even think about it, and it astonished me. Only 3 points, mate.
Statistics and miniskirts. I think somebody said something about that once upon a time. God rest his soul. I get. I posted the stat on the page as well, and people quite happily pointed out that for a degree of Jim's stats, if you like, he had inherited what we can all acknowledge was a very poor team from Stephen Glass. And to his credit, he did something about it. Listen, I think and this is surprising coming with me, given some of the stuff that I've posted on the page this week. I think it's early doors. I think January is massive. I
Huge.
think for the amount of people that have said, "Oh, we're still third and we're in a semi." I mean, we hardly beat any teams of prowess to get to that semi-final, and here we are. If silverware, he's going to have to beat probably Rangers and Celtic. No disrespect to Kilmarnock, but you would suggest that Rangers and Celtic are teams to have to get there
Mm.
to win silverware.
Mm.
That January transfer window, we've been screaming out since September, October to go. There's the defense is not right, and that's going to make the difference. And the teams from third to 10th are so tightly packed that a couple of losses, a couple more losses, or even dropped points, even draws, see that third place go to fifth place, sixth place, eighth place in a couple of games. So it's I hope these two games will be a significant moment in the season where we go, okay, there was a crossroads or there was a fork in the road and we went that way instead of going that way.
Yeah.
I really hope so. But I get that Don's fans, listen, I think I said it at the time, and I will happily sit here and go, I think Jim Goodwin was the safe option after Stephen Glass. I don't think it was necessarily an exciting thrill ride of an appointment, but he is capable. The question is whether the glass ceiling of Aberdeen, whether he learns from what he's got so far. As I said, he's only had the one transfer window.
Yeah.
The question is what he's going to do with his second one.
Yeah.
I don't think we're in a situation where we're talking about, packing his bags just quite yet.
No.
But things can go south really, really quickly. I really hope they don't. I really hope he proves us all wrong.
Yeah.
But time will tell. And I think St Mirren, the game in Paisley is not an easy one at all, given their records. The only team I think to have beaten Celtic this season or this year, this calendar year, at home and away.
I can't believe I'm saying this, and I mean this with the greatest respect to St Mirren. We are now facing what is a huge game. I think, personally, it's a huge game, and the size of it has come out of what has happened in the past 7 days. How do you see it going?
Oh.
Good luck.
Yeah, I believe we have all the capabilities to win it if we're allowed to go and attack and go and do what we do best. I think if that such is the roller coaster ride of Aberdeen performances away from home that you just don't know. Caution would dictate, and I said this before Tuesday. Away from home, I've said this to you before as well on these things. I would set up 4-2-3-1. I wouldn't be setting up the 3-5-2 away. You can always change it, and that's what we've been missing, is kind of going the adaptability to go 4-2-3-1. You can easily change 4-2-3-1 if you've picked the right players to go back to 3-5-2. I would start with an air of caution, and then be able to kind of adapt and make changes, and then go to 3-5-2, which we know is attacking and will score goals. I really think it depends how we set out. If we go and set out 3-5-2 and St Mirren are able to unlock our defence, it could get very messy very quickly. So that's why it's such a fascinating game for me to go, how are we going to react? How are we going to set up? How are we going to play? And that's the joy or pain of being an Aberdeen supporter at the moment, is not knowing all games away from home what's going to happen. Yeah. But he needs to win it. I think the 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 sort of the mumblings and grumblings of Don's fans won't get any any better if it's not 3 points on by sort of 2:30 on Saturday afternoon.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. And the fact that we sold out our ticket allocation is just, honestly,
Again,
our support is just sensational. They really are. Mate, I'm going to have to run. Thank you so much. Have a very Merry Christmas. And I shall
yes,
see you on the other side.
happy Christmas to
Happy
you and
Christmas,
to all
mate.
Don's fans out there. Have a great one. Stay
Thanks,
safe.
fella. Bye, mate. Bye-bye. Thank you, Richard, as always. Sorry about that little technical glitch there. So I'm going to give you the thoughts now of the manager, Jim Goodwin, who gave his presser on Thursday afternoon, and I've just picked out what I thought was the most interesting quote from him. He said, "For me personally, the first 24 hours after were a bit sore, and you do a lot of reflecting. The first person I always look at after every game is myself and what could I have done differently. You're looking at team selection and tactics and substitutions and everything. I don't ever sit here claiming to know it all and that I get everything right from one game to the next. But all I can say to people is that I make decisions that are honest ones and that are, in my view, at the time, the best ones for this football club. I'll continue to do that." Let's take a look at the match stats ahead of this game. They do not make for good reading. So St Mirren are unbeaten in their last 8 home league games. They've won 5, they've drawn 3. Since the start of last season, only Hibs have lost more Scottish Premiership away games than we have. St Mirren are unbeaten in their last 5 home league meetings with us, winning 3, drawing 2, but won both of their last 2. The referee for today's game is Nick Walsh. So just before we get to Brian Gunn, just let me give you a couple of thoughts ahead of today's game. So I think over the next few weeks, it's absolutely vital that we go into the League Cup semi-final in the right frame of mind. I think it's an absolute necessity. I hope today, as a collective, and I mean as a collective, the decision-making improves and the boys continue to express themselves like they did when they were granted the freedom to do so on Tuesday night. It's a huge game, in my opinion, as I just discussed with Richard. Very quickly, can I just give a little shout out? So if you're watching for the very first time, hi, how you doing? I'm absolutely thrilled to have you along. If you wouldn't mind, please feel free to subscribe to Ali Beg ABTV as we continue to build the channel, particularly going into 2023. The reason that I ask that is because I keep saying it, and forgive me for sounding like a broken record, but we do have big plans, particularly for next year. And for me to build the channel the way that I want to build the channel and bring you the type of content that I want to bring you, it always helps when the subscription levels go up. And also, thank you for your continued support with the membership. There's a little join button on the page, and a number of you have already come on board and signed up for that, which I am very, very grateful. Because again, every little helps, and it means that I can continue to improve the equipment here and improve the product and the content. So again, thank you very much. Right, Brian Gunn, quick fire questions. Time to put you in a festive good mood. So what I did was I got Brian Gunn on and I gave him a number of questions, 11 in fact, and I said to him, look, you can answer these as you see fit. And we did the chat yesterday before he went away and joined the family for Christmas. And I have to say, it is definitely one of the funniest interviews that I've done. Here's Brian Gunn's quick fire questions. Right, Brian, let's get started. So, first question, Seaton Park, the beach, or the Red Ash car park? Which one did you prefer to train on?
Well, I think Seaton Park probably when there was no dog poo lying about. The beach was always a Friday morning. Myself and Jim and Davy Laurie and a few of the others, Stevie Reid, and that used to go down and we'd set up our cones and we'd do a little warm up. And by the time we got back to the cones, the wind had blown them away. And we always used to do a routine where we'd kick the ball as high as we could and we'd go to try and catch it. and you'd have to run about 30 yards with the wind to try and get to the ball before it bounced. So hey, look, all three great places that taught me being a professional football player. It was not all it was made out to be, but everyone got on with the job, and it didn't do us any harm, put it that way.
Okay, who were you winning an argument with, Willie Miller or Alex McLeish?
That's a great question as well. So I think with Alex, Big Alex used to just look at me, and I'd get a stare, and that was it. There was no saying it wasn't my fault. It was my fault if he was looking at me like that. And Willie would always wag his finger, and then you'd say to him, "It's your fault. It's your fault." No, it's your fault. And then the answer, the true answer, is you don't win an argument with either of them. Especially when you're 18 and you're making your debut in the Scottish Premier League, and you want to get on in the game. You learn from every moment that you're with those two guys.
Who was more scary, Sir Alex Ferguson or Archie Knox?
You've not made these questions easy, have you? Right. Okay. So the true answer as well is Archie.
Okay.
Because and I'm sure you know about the world famous game of tips that you used to have on a Friday after training. Used to go into the black gym. It was painted with black paint on the floor. There was goals placed in all the corners. Every spare bit of wall, there was a goal. So you had probably about 8 people at some stages playing tips, and you would have 3 lives, and then you get knocked out. But the highlight of a Friday afternoon was that Fergie and Archie would have their individual game of tips, and this was war. This was war, and you'd have to take your pitch carefully whose corner you were in, because it would get to that stage where they'd be wanting drummed up support. Who you with, and you'd have to say, come on, boss. I know, come on, Archie. And I do remember this particular day that I don't know how, but it got down to, I think it was underwear. They were playing with this. They take their tops off. They were covered. There was black snot coming out the nose with this black paint. And I think we made the wrong choice, and the boss won it this day. And anyway, next minute, Archie came back with a baseball bat. And this was a Christmas game because there was still snow on the pitch at Pittodrie. And I remember about 10 of us running around the pitch, Archie chasing us all, trying to hit us with his baseball bat. So I think in terms of people using, sort of armour, and that Archie was the one who picked something up and have a go with you. But that afternoon was a scary afternoon, just watching the two of them. Whether it was in full kit or underpants, it was always a great laugh.
Okay, who was the more cheeky? Not funny, but cheeky. Neil Cooper or Gordon Strachan?
Gordon's certainly cheeky in a different way. You're right. He's got some dry answers, and I think sometimes you had to be quite brainy to understand Gordon's answers as well. And that's something as you get older, you look back and you think, well, the wee man was meaning something there when he said that in a different way than we would normally say it. So I'd go for Gordon, because I think you said it in your question. Tatty was definitely the funniest person in Aberdeen, Scotland, Darjeeling, where he would have taken the house down as well. So two great guys.
Okay, this question came in from a pal of mine called Jim Balfour. Biggest buzz: John Hewitt's winning goal v Bayern Munich or John Hewitt's winning goal v Real Madrid?
Oh God, they're so unfair. Unfair questions these are. Is it John Balfour?
Jim Balfour.
Jim Balfour. Jeez, oh Jim. Well, I suppose if Johnny Hewitt hadn't scored against Bayern Munich, we would have never got to Real Madrid, would we?
Exactly.
And that was an amazing night. Pittodrie against Bayern Munich, what a night! And when Johnny scored that, I don't know, it was like another hitch kick thing, wasn't it? He's sort of just getting unusual positions and read the goalie dropping the ball and he put it in the back of the net. So I mean, that was a great night at Pittodrie, probably the greatest night at Pittodrie. But the one that I've got to say as well, the Real Madrid goal was unbelievable because I ended up getting a Ford Cortina when I got back to Aberdeen with a bonus. That was me. That was my upgrading car at the time. I didn't have a car, so my first car was a Ford Cortina. So with Johnny actually scoring that goal, he gave me my first set of wheels. So yeah, look, you're setting me up here with these questions. They're both brilliant things that happened in our lives. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay, talking of cars, who
Right.
had the nicest car at the football club?
Well, I used to have to clean the boss's car, the biggest Merc in Aberdeen. It was always the biggest Merc, whatever.
Is that the big red one?
Well, there was the red, there was a silver, there was a black. So he got changed every year. So it was like all sorts. So I used to have to clean that every Friday, but three of us used to get it outside. What he didn't know was you mentioned the Red Ash car park, but we'd drive it onto there and maybe get it cleaned up. And it was a very frosty day. It was icy. And we managed to move it from one end of the car park to the other, doing handbrake turns. So we're spinning this thing round in the car park. I'm glad he'd never seen us. I mean, his office at Pittodrie was hidden away, so he would never have seen us. And I think the only thing he would be pleased about, his car was clean when he got back. But little did he know what was happening during the cleaning process. It was getting driven around all sorts of streets, Pittodrie Street, up and down to the bakers, all sorts. So I don't think he ever knew about that. But yeah, that he does now. So that's the best car. So Fergie the best, but the best player's car was always Johnny Hewitt, and because he always had the fastest car. He always had the one that was. He had his Astra. I think it was an Astra. GTI something, but it had the speed board that used to be electronic, so there was no dial on it, but it just used to go up in the sort of the speed, and it was always up at the top with Johnny. It was never at the lowest with Johnny. So yeah, Johnny, the boss, and Johnny. That's all I could say.
So who had the worst car at the club?
Oh wow, that's a good question. The thing is, as well, sometimes you probably won't know who had the worst cars. So they park them around the corner. There's no way they would park them on Pittodrie Street or in the main car park. But hey, that's a good question. Who had the worst car? To be fair, I can't answer that.
No worries.
Maybe my Ford Cortina 1.6V.
What colour was it?
In a metallic lime green.
Ooh.
So yeah, it wasn't the nicest, and yeah, you got to thank the Murison brothers for putting that one on the street. So yeah, I'll need to get a picture of that and show you exactly what the color was. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best.
Okay. What was the best save you ever made while at Aberdeen?
Oh wow. Right. Okay. Scottish Cup semi-final. Against, was it Hibs at Dens Park? Hearts at Dens Park? No, Hearts, they played in the final, didn't they? They played 86, they played Hearts, it was Hibs. Hibs at Dens Park. And I think I made this save that someone hit a shot from outside the box and it hit off Willie's thigh when he was trying to block it. And it was diverted it to the top left-hand corner. And I managed to get up there, a little flick on it, and it hit the top of the crossbar and went over. I think there's another couple of good saves in that as well, but that save for me was probably the best, because at half time we actually came in the dressing room and the boss went mental as normal. I think it was only 0-0 at half time, and he just shouted at everybody that Big Ben's just won you the cup with that save there. And I was sitting there like, nice big smile on my face, and and then we were out the second half and we won 3-0. Nice. So yeah, I've got to take a little bit of credit for helping them get to the final. But of course, that was the final that I never played in. Yeah. Because Jim Leighton got himself fit a couple of days before the final, and ended up playing in it. And that probably was sort of the end of me at Pittodrie. I think we'd already agreed that I was going to be staying for another season and then making my way wherever. ended up down at Norwich a few months later.
And you didn't do too badly down there, fella.
Not
right.
too bad.
Best Aberdeen goal that you ever saw?
Oh, wow. Ooh, Aberdeen. Best Aberdeen goal that I saw. Right. I want to say John McMaster, left foot shot at Parkhead.
Yeah.
No?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Top corner. Packy Bonner struggling to get it. And I think I was playing in the team that day as well. And I think we won 1-0.
Okay.
John McMaster at Parkhead. Hey, look, we're talking about 1982 here, which is like 40 years ago. What other? Yeah. I mean, if it was Johnny, but yeah, I think I'd have to go for a John McMaster blockbuster.
Excellent.
At Parkhead. I think we won 1-0. We'll need to get the history books out.
Okay. And your final question, which has also come from Jim Balfour, what's the worst fine that you ever received at Aberdeen?
Wow. Okay. Well, it wasn't really a fine, was it? I think we got beat at Easter Road one Saturday, and I remember it was 2-1. And I wasn't even in the squad. I never travelled in those days, in the early days. So anyway, we got called into training on the Sunday morning, and we were all sitting in the boardroom, and actually sitting on the floor in the boardroom, just waiting for the boss to come in. And just remember, we got beat 2-1 the day before. I wasn't in the squad. Anyway, came into the boardroom, started shouting at everyone, and turned around to me and Tati and said, "And Gunnar Cooper, get your hair back to its original colour tomorrow." So we got blamed for a 2-1 defeat at Easter Road for the colour of our hair. So I think that as a fine, probably having to go back to a cut above on Union Street and ask to get our hair back to its original colour, could sit there as a fine. It was probably more embarrassing than anything else.
I do have one last final question for you.
Oh, wow.
It's a very, very important question. Probably the most important of them all.
Right.
Bad Boys Inc. or Take That?
Oh, well, I tell you what, I made a good friendship with Robbie Williams as well in Norfolk. He used to come to Norfolk and hide away when pop groups were not allowed to have girlfriends, and he used to hide away. But I don't see Robbie as much now. So
You're going to take that, aren't you?
What was your group called again?
You cheeky bandit. My thanks to Brian Gunn for joining me to discuss his quickfire questions. And I can't believe that's 2 for 2. Now Niall McGinn and Brian Gunn absolutely doing me. Just to finish off, if you're not able to watch the game today, but you are out and about, you can join us from 12 o'clock on North Sound 1 on the Big Saturday Football Show, where I will be reporting live from the game, from my base here in Germany. So there'll be live updates, biased as always. So if you want to join us, I think you'll really enjoy the show. And if you've not heard it before, if you've not tuned in before, it's really good fun. It's the perfect mixture for me of music, laughter, banter, and football. All that's left to say is the very best of luck to the Dons today. It's vital that we get the 3 points, go into the next game in the right frame of mind, and then basically take it from there. So the very best of luck to the lads today. And just to finish off, in you come. In you come. What would you like to say?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Have a fantastic Christmas. Thank you for your continued support. Lots of love to your families, and I hope that Santa spoils you rotten. See you very soon. Bye for now.